Hello, I'm Helen Robinson. I work at Community Action Partnership of Cambria County, and we have a housing panel. It is not inclusive. There are a lot more housing programs out there, but this will give you a representation of what's out there. And if you contact any one of our agencies, if we cannot help you directly, we should be able to get you in the right direction. Working for Community Action Partnership in Cambria County, we have 3 different types of housing programs. We have the Emergency Solutions Grant, and we help with homeless clients get into a new place. We can help with security deposit and 6 months of rental assistance in that program. And we're applying to the state for permission to use that money as well for people who are getting evicted. So we will keep you updated as far as that goes, but we should be able to do that soon. We also have homeless assistance program through the county. We help with up to $750 to prevent eviction or to move into a new place. And that is for people, we help people every day who are just need a little extra to get by. And we do help with mortgage assistance as well. So as long as you're not 6 months behind, if it's something we can do, we can work with you and help you get caught up so that you can continue to live in the place that you are currently living. The other program we have is FEMA assistance. We operate that program very similarly to the HAP program. So we can help from 1 to 3 months at this time with rental assistance to prevent eviction, to prevent mortgage foreclosure, and to help people move into a new place. You can ask me questions now, but I'm really hoping that we can go through everybody, and then you can ask questions of any of one of us. That should be maybe the best way to do that. Next person up is, who wants to go next? Rich, you're next one? Okay. Rich Hudek from the Greater Johnstown Landlords Association.
Hello. Yes, my name is Rich Hudek, and I'm the Executive Chairman of the Greater Johnstown Landlord Association. I'm grateful for the opportunity to introduce the GJLA to those of you we haven't met yet. In 2006, the GJLA was formed as a nonprofit to represent landlords. We provided educational and networking opportunities for many years. Then in 2012, Cambria County expressed the need for what they called the clearinghouse, a program connecting landlords with those seeking housing. Traditionally, it's been difficult for case managers to find landlords that will work with subsidy programs. But we already had a network in place, so we felt it would be a good fit. Also, we found that landlords are very open to talking with us and having a relationship with us because we're able to help them advertise their properties, get work done, advise them about eviction issues, and so forth. Then in 2012, we expanded our role a bit by starting to administer the Shelter Plus Care program, which was a permanent supportive housing program through HUD. And we also administer bridge housing, which is a slightly shorter term subsidy program for those who can become sustainable. Referrals for those programs are handled through Cambria County Behavioral Health. So if you have a client you think would be appropriate for that, those programs, please contact Behavioral Health. If any of you interact with the GJLA directly, it will likely be through the clearinghouse. It's simple to use the clearinghouse. We have a network of landlords, as I mentioned. If you or your clients need housing help, you'd simply reach out to us. You can call, Facebook, email, what have you, and give us what you're looking for. Number of bedrooms, accessibility issues. If your client or you have a subsidy, we'll connect you with our network. If a landlord has an available unit, we'll put the two of you together, and we can help you through that process by giving you advice about what to look for in a lease, questions about whether a landlord is legitimate, whether the home is appropriate for your needs. The number of units are constantly changing every day. They aren't always advertised. There's a small percentage of the number of units in our community that are actually advertised online. Our network is growing, and also a lot of landlords are changing. So there's a need to constantly develop new relationships with new landlords. We certainly help homeless people and those who have housing instability, but we also like to keep people housed. If a person is going through difficulties with their landlords, we'd like to talk to them right now as opposed to waiting until they become homeless. We can provide non-legal advice to tenants that are having difficulties with their landlords, whether it's an issue of habitability, questions about eviction. We'd be happy to talk to you or your clients about that. Many times we've talked to tenants who are threatening to be evicted, but actually the landlord isn't following the process at all. They're really not in danger of losing their housing quickly, but they feel compelled to move out right away, which is a terrible situation for them. And I'd like to mention just briefly some of the market conditions. Over the past couple of years, the rental market in Johnstown has changed significantly. Demand is very high for rental properties. There are always units available, but it can be very hard to find an available unit that is habitable. There's been a large number of out-of-town owners coming into the area. They're impressed with the low price of real estate in Johnstown and the reasonably high rents. That creates a bit of a challenge because a lot of these owners do not know anyone in town. They don't understand some of the market conditions or the habitability and management requirements. So we can help with those landlords that are out of town. We can help connect you and your clients with those out-of-town landlords. Water bills for the Greater Johnstown Water Authority is becoming a huge problem. The cost per month is maybe $140, maybe more. So that's becoming an additional cost that tenants are having a hard time dealing with. And I don't see it going down anytime in the near future, but it is an issue. Also, increases in electric and gas costs as well is becoming a problem. Historically, rents for a typical two-bedroom, half a double in Johnstown have been maybe $450 plus some utilities. Now we're seeing rents $650, $700, or even more. And without the same increase in incomes in the area, it's becoming extremely difficult for a family to be able to afford housing without some type of subsidy. There's also a lot of tenants coming in from outside the area. I've talked to many who live in an area where the rents are much higher than Johnstown. So when they see the rental market in Johnstown, they're impressed by it, they want to move here, but they may not be aware of the employment opportunities in Johnstown, which may not be the same as a bigger city. So they get here, they sign a lease for a large amount of money, assuming they'll be able to get a job and pay the rent, but they're not able to. And that's a danger, I think, moving down the road over the next couple of years. Also, there are a lot of issues with mental health problems and addiction and poverty, which continue to really plague the area. Landlords are not case managers, they're not counselors. They haven't been trained to deal with a lot of the problems that your clients are going through. And we can help try to bridge the gap for those that are having problems getting along with their landlords when they have those issues involved, and we'd be happy to help. I want to give you the number that any of you can call. It is 814-619-4493. And I'll give that number again, and we'll have brochures on the back table as well. You can also find us on Facebook and message us through there or email. Once again, the number is 814-619-4493. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. I didn't mention my phone number, and he reminded me of that. For Community Action Partnership of Cambria County, it is 814-536-9031. And if you have any questions about any housing programs in Cambria County, you can call our agency and we can help you get put in the right direction.
One more time.
814-536-9031.
Thank you.
Okay. Valerie?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Roxanne Tiger. I'm the Executive Director of the Women's Health Center. And I think we echo a lot of the things that Rich was saying too. When we're dealing with a lot of housing issues in the community, we're seeing a lot of the same challenges that are out there. And today we just wanted to talk just for a minute or two about some of the things that we have available to help as well in the area of housing. We do have emergency shelter services, so we have 27 beds that are in 8 family-style bedrooms, and we can help single women and individuals with families who come into the shelter who need housing, emergency shelter for just about any reason. So if you or someone you know is experiencing some challenges, difficulties, on the verge of homelessness, please give us a call. I think like everybody else here, we really want to prevent someone from being homeless, but we are also there if someone is in that situation where they don't have anywhere to go. Our goal when someone comes into us is to get them housed somewhere as quickly as possible. No one wants to make an emergency shelter their home. So we really work with a lot of the community partners to pull resources together, get people into housing as quickly as we can. One of the really great accomplishments that we'll have here in the next month or two is we'll actually have 9 apartments coming online for people to use for diversionary and transitional housing when they come out of shelter. So that's something that we haven't had before. Our goal was to have at least half the units online in December, but that's going to depend on the sewage project. So I'm sure we're not the only ones dealing with possible sewage issues and having to get lines redone. So hopefully we'll have that available soon, and our goal is that individuals can stay there for up to 2 years while they're looking for permanent housing. So that's our goal in trying to bridge that gap. Another exciting new program that we started is a food program. We actually have a partnership now with the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank, who's been fantastic. I don't know where Trish went. Oh, there you are, right there. You've been fantastic. We just started that in September with, I think, 2,200 pounds of food, and we served almost 40 families. And what we're doing is connecting with anyone who's been through either our shelter or who's come in to us for any kind of services. They can sign up in an app. We send them a text message to tell them, hey, this is food distribution day, and they can come and get free food. And it's been fantastic. Anything from veggies, fruit, meat, breads, lots of different things, and they've been able to come in and take advantage of that, which is really fantastic to supplement what they may already be getting. And that's something that people will be able to get whenever they leave us and go into that transitional housing, that we'll be able to continue to keep supplying that food. Another thing that we were looking at is being able to address some of the underlying needs that people may have that made them homeless. So we have started a financial literacy program called Building Your Financial House. We have staff who are certified through the PHFA, which is the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, to do that training, and it really is wonderful. It touches on a lot of different aspects. It's 7 different workshops that come together to teach financial literacy. And we do a prepared renters training, because really what we don't want is someone to come to us, quickly find an apartment, and then not be able to succeed because they don't understand what it means to be a renter and how to keep that apartment. So we provide that, and hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have some HUD certified housing counselors on board as well who can help people through that process with pretty much anything they need to know or any help that they need about housing. I think those are most of my highlights. And like Helen said, we'll save the questions till the end and we'll roll on to the next.
Phone number.
Oh, phone number, sorry. I thought someone yelled. Okay, our phone number is 814-536-5361. And website too is womenshelpcenter.org. Not the Women's Health Center, which we do get a lot of calls for that, by the way. So we get someone who calls for nurses that they want to check up on their doctor's appointment, and that's not us, but the Women's Health Center. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shayla Cunningham. I'm presenting on behalf of Amy Compton for Blair County Community Action Agency. I'm just going to go over a couple of programs that we have that we can provide some services. We do outside of Blair County as well, so depending on what the situation is with the client, we may be able to assist for other counties. Currently, we have a rapid rehousing program. It's up to 1 year of assistance. We do provide some extra services in that between Walmart trips for emergency food, clothing, bedding, toiletries.
I can't hear you.
We provide some services with our rapid rehousing program for emergency food, clothing, bedding, and toiletries. And we also do a tenant share of rent program inside of that, where once they hit a certain income level, they pay us 30% of their income total, and they can receive a stipend of that back at the end of the program to kind of help them get back on their feet a little bit further. We have an emergency solutions grant and our homeless prevention with that one helps with evictions, and it can go back to 6 months of arrear payments and 12 months of ongoing. And our rapid rehousing in that one is up to 12 months of ongoing assistance. That one does get restarted every 90 days, so if you're over income in that program, then you would get closed out after the 90-day period. Our community development block grant, we have city funds to use for hotel stays until we can get clients into actual housing, and we can also pay rental arrears in that program. We also have a community-based care management program, and that is a partnership with UPMC, Blair Drug and Alcohol, Blair Health Choices, and Hope Drop-In. We primarily focus on the housing side of those, where all the other agencies will work on the mental and physical aspect of these clients' needs. We also have the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Grant and the Housing Assistance Program Grant. Those two are very similar. We can assist with utility and rental arrears in that, and first month's rent security deposit. The Housing Assistance Program is a little bit more strict when it comes to the guidelines. You cannot receive any rental assistance for 2 years prior for us to use that grant on you. And there's, for a single person or 2 adults in one household, it is $1,000 for that family that they can receive up to, or $1,500 for a family household. And we also have a rep payee program to manage SSI financing, and it'll pay the necessities, and then whatever is left over for the month of that, they'll break that down into 2 payments and pay the client the rest of their funds. So that's everything we pretty much offer right now. We're going to be working on some other programs here in the future that will help with budgeting classes and some mortgage issues and everything. And does anybody have any questions, or just phone number now?
I just have a question. Is that information you share going to be available in writing?
It can. I'm going to leave my business cards in the back as well, so you'll be able to get on the website too, which will break everything down a little bit further for you guys. And it is 814-946-3651.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name's Jamie. I'm a Veteran Housing Service Coordinator with the Veterans Leadership Program, and I have Gloria here with me as my counterpart. I will give it over to her in just a minute. Veterans Leadership Program is here in Cambria County and 30 other counties throughout Pennsylvania, a little bit in New York and Ohio as well. I'm going to talk about our housing program that we have here. It's through the federal grant of SSVF. There are 2 components with the program, which is HP and RR. HP being homeless prevention, where we can assist veterans with rental arrears and assistance in housing in that nature. RR being rapid rehousing, which is for literally homeless veterans, domestic violence victims, and street homeless as well. For myself personally, I serve Cambria, Bedford, and Somerset counties. We have service coordinators in all 30 of our counties across the area as well. We can also help with utility services within the SSVF program. We can help with car repairs through the SSVF program and a variety of other services if you qualify for that. Qualifications would be based on your veteran status, your discharge status, income guidelines as well, and if you're in a housing crisis. To make everything brief, I do want to touch real quick on our stand down event. That is this Saturday. So if anybody doesn't know about that, we do have a couple billboards around the area right now, Napoleon Street, I think everywhere right now. It's very new here to Johnstown. It's our first one ever. We're very excited about it. We have emailed and put some flyers out to different providers here in the area. What the stand down event is it's a resource fair for veterans and really anybody who is homeless, experiencing homelessness, or just needs some resources in the area for utilities, food, shelter, anything of that nature. We're going to be providing vouchers for haircuts. We're going to be providing hopefully some flu vaccines there as well, different food resources, hygiene kits. We're just trying to make it the best one that we have. Lori, where's the, do you have a flyer?
Where is it being held?
Not at the War Memorial, it's actually, it's at the Conference Center, which is across the street from the War Memorial there. It is going to be on Saturday, starting at 10 a.m., and it's going to run until 2 p.m. We encourage and want everyone to come. If you are a provider that wants a last-minute table that you would like to set up and bring all of your information to give out to the community, you can meet with me or Gloria after the presentation here, and we'll be happy to get you a provider form and some and all the information for the event there. If you are not attending, but if you know of any veterans or anybody who would benefit from the stand down event, please encourage them to come by. We're going to have a lot of our information out there as well, so you can learn more about our services that we have other than just our housing services within the VLP. Also wanted to touch briefly on, we do have military food shares each month. We partner with the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank for this every month. Thank you guys. They're wonderful. They come every month to the Hiram G. Andrews Center on Goucher Street for our veterans. We start usually about 12 p.m. We served over 400 veterans last month alone in the military share. So thank you. It's awesome. It's every month. This month will be on November 21st. So if you guys would like to write that information down. We kind of go on a month-to-month basis because we don't really know the exact date until the month prior to the military share. And I think that's about it for that one. I'm going to give it over to Gloria now, who is going to explain a little bit about another housing program that we have that's very new to VLP, that is also off of the SSVF grant that I had just touched on. So she's going to share a little bit about that. Thank you.
So I am Gloria Eshelman, and I am a late registrant. So it follows that I follow Jamie because the program that I do is called Shallow Subsidy, and it's an initiative under the SSVF program. If you don't know what SSVF stands for, that's Supportive Services for Veterans Families. So what the Shallow Subsidy is all about, well, let me first go back to Jamie's program. So in Jamie's program, somebody might be behind a month or two, or they're facing eviction. She's going to work to get them caught up on that month, maybe 2 months, and work with them to try to get them stable. Then they're referred to my program, and once they're stable, they can be in my program for up to 2 years. And it's a long-term program, and it's a cost share program. So every month we pay half, and the veteran family pays half. And so it's a really nice program. And there is no recertification for the 2 years. So I always tell my veterans, this is the perfect time. Make bank, because you're not going to be over income. So if you come into my program and you're only making $20,000, but you get hired and now you're making $80,000, that's your money. We're not going to charge you anymore. The idea is that we are fostering their independence, so that when the program ends, they can support themselves. So again, they have to pay 50% of their rent, whether they make $20,000 or whether they make $80,000. So the idea is that we encourage them to increase their income, and that is, then they can pay off bills and what have you. As Jamie said, in my program, we help with auto repairs, we can help with utilities, and prevent those kind of shutoffs. So the Shallow Subsidy, again, it's a new program through HUD, and so we are really excited to be doing this. Just one other thing I wanted to throw out there about VLP, we have a program called PA Serves, which is kind of a referral network. And so for a veteran who is over income for our program, but maybe their transmission went and they're just behind on a mortgage payment, or maybe their roof needs fixed or whatever, through our PA Serves, which is our resource network, they might make a referral to like PA Wounded Warrior or No Heroes Left Behind. So even if someone may be over income for one of our housing programs through SSVF, the nice thing is that there are programs out there designed to help veterans, even if they don't make the AMI guidelines. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that. So, and so our phone number is 1-844
VLP
VLP
vets.
Vets.
So it's V as in Victor, LP
And
vets.
that's Veterans Leadership Program, so 844 VLP Vets. We do everything, like we said, 28 counties, or 30 counties. I cover every county in the state, so it doesn't matter, I'm not limited to, Blair and Somerset. Because this program is new, we have about 70 veterans in the Shallow Subsidy program, so we do cover all the counties in our service area. So we also work remotely a lot of the time. So if somebody has someone that's urgent right now that you need help with, see Jamie and I, we have business cards and we will, because we'll be using our cell phones and you don't have to go directly through the intake number, so, okay?
So, is VET, V-E-T-T,
S.
VETS.
Vets.
X,
One,
X?
it's eight, no,
Sally.
That's like in salad.
Sally, yeah, so it's V,
S, okay.
V is in Victor, E is in Edward, T is in Tom, S is in Sam.
Okay.
And before that was Victor, Larry, Paul.
And just real quick, guys, I just want to give you the dates again for the two important dates that I said this month. Saturday, November 12th, 10 to 2, Stand Down. That is at the Johnstown Conference Center this Saturday. Our next military share is November 21st at the Hiram G. Andrews Center, starting at 12 p.m., usually from 12 to 2, 12 to 3. We get a lot of cars, so we encourage them to come a little bit earlier and line up. Thank you, guys.
And the Marine Corps birthday is tomorrow.
For Stand Down, please, if you are an agency and you would like to be a vendor there, you have like little goodies or you have information to give out, please see us, because this was a kind of a last minute thing. Pittsburgh has been doing this for 40 years. We got approval from the Department of Labor to do this just about 2.5 weeks ago, and we have been scrambling to get this together. So if you can join us, you want to volunteer, you want to, provide information and resources, please join us. Or if you have a client that is in need, send them our way. Thank you.
You have something in Blair County. There's a Veterans Hospital in Blair County. Do you have something like this in Blair County?
This is the first one here. We're hoping to do this next year in like Blair. And if we get approval from Department of Labor and Industry, because we do cover the 30 counties. I mean, we cover Huntington, we cover Bedford, Clearfield. So if we get approval from the Department of Labor, we are willing to do this in other counties.
Also, we are having a bus from Blair County coming to Johnstown for the Stand Down event. So we made sure that we coordinated that with Amtran, Camtran. I believe it's at the library that they're going to pick them up at, I want to say 8:45, I think is the time for the pickup. So any veteran that is in Blair County, we will be picking them up at no cost, bringing them down to the event, and then busing them back. Also at the event, we will have one-day bus passes for both Amtran and Camtran there as well.
And one last thing, we have several people from the Altoona VA staff that are going to be at the Stand Down. So if you know a veteran who, wants to ask some questions, this is a great time to do so. Thanks.
One more thing about the VLP program. 19 years ago, they held a job fair up at Hiram G. Andrews. I attended this, and I got my job through Community Action as Community Services Director. So they also have job fairs for vets, and that's a successful program as well.
As well as an ops program for drug and alcohol, so.
Drug and alcohol program. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you're a vet or know a vet, have them call up there and they can find out the information you learned today, but also the other things that we may not have had time or targeted on today's speech. Any questions? Go ahead.
Hey Helen, you probably, me and you talk a lot, I'm Carla Payne Harrison, I'm the community housing coordinator for Hammer over here. So I have a couple questions, because I've sent people through your program, the ERAP, but I want to know, so say they came to your ERAP program, you help them with more.
Right.
Are they able to come back in, or are they a one-time help situation?
We do not have somebody from ERAP representing Cambria County here today. They were not able to attend, so I don't want to misspeak for them. Are any of you guys operating an ERAP program? Okay, so I believe that it's a program that they're eligible for up to a year, from what I understand. And I know that they do back rent and future rent. I believe they can only go through it once. So if they do 6 months behind, I believe, they'll
It can be up to 18 minutes.
okay, see, here, wait, I'm gonna have her put on. Somebody who knows a little bit more about the ERAP program.
We did do ERAP a little bit for Blair County, so it's up to 18 months of assistance, and you're gonna have to reapply for recertification after every 3 months is typically what every agency has been doing, but you're gonna have to check with your county agency as well to make sure that's the same process. But essentially,
It also helps
and
pay
utilities, utility rental arrears and ongoing assistance.
Because it's really rare, I know that a lot of counties, they don't have money left. So there's
Yeah.
a few counties that have money left, like 2 or 3.
Somerset, I believe,
ERAP 2 has started.
ERAP 2 has started, and I do know that Somerset has money, Cambria County has money, and I believe Blair has money as well. So I would absolutely encourage you to call the county you're concerned about and find out what status that is, if they've gotten the ERAP 2 funding, so that you people can get that up to 18 months of assistance. From what I understand, I was seeing with 6 months behind and a year ahead, that was how I was getting the 18 months. So that's how it was explained to me. Go ahead, Karen.
Someone tell us what agency handles ERAP for Cambria County?
Behavioral Health handles Cambria County's ERAP program. I do not have their phone number right now. 535-8531. Can you please stand up and say that a little bit louder? 535-8531. And that is an 814 area code. Go ahead.
One question, are all of the veterans assistance programs, is eligibility dependent on the type of discharge?
Yes, it is. Eligibility is dependent on the type of discharge and the length of stay. I believe that you were in the military, because we have people who are medically discharged in basic training. They may not be eligible for as many programs as somebody who was in for several years.
VOP does make, I'm going to tell you, VOP does make some distinctions. We don't have the strict guidelines that some of the VA programs do. So I had a person in my program who had only been in the service for 2 weeks, but we were able to help with housing stabilization. Now, does that mean that at the end of my program, he's going to be able to go to HUD-VASH and get a voucher? No. But our program does help veterans, reservists, and some of those folks who don't qualify for all the veterans benefits.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
What's the income guidelines that set for
The income guideline is based on the area median income, so it depends on the income for each county. So you'd have to approach the agency for the county that you're interested in, and they'd be able to help you with the income guidelines, because it does change from county to county. Anybody else? Yes, Stephanie.
It might be more directed towards Mr. Kudak, I believe.
Rich.
One of the issues that I'm facing most with the landlord and eviction process is many of the landlords either have no lease or monthly lease. So the second the tenant speaks up about any rights, like there's issues with the house or anything, they're booted out. Because there's no lease, and is there any laws, is there any way to protect them?
Well, anyone who rents a property can ask for a lease. In Pennsylvania, if you don't have a written lease, by default, it's a month-to-month renewal every time the tenant pays another payment of rent. That can be put in writing though, and anyone who rents a property should insist on some type of written lease with the protections that are appropriate put into it. And we can certainly help with that process. But a landlord has a lot of rights to evict. There's really 4 ways to do it: non-payment of rent, breach of the lease, drug conviction, and end of a term. So in the case, even if a tenant has a 1-year lease, if the landlord's able to prove that there was a breach of the lease, they can move forward with eviction even if there's a longer term lease. But if there's a complaint about habitability, I tell this to everyone, you're likely to have to move if the complaint is severe and not warranted. If it is a legitimate complaint about habitability, withhold the rent, put it into escrow, notify the landlord in writing immediately. You have the right to do that, but once again, it'll likely result in you losing your home and having to move elsewhere. So be aware, if you don't have another option lined up, you have to be careful about the complaints. Have the inspection before you move in. Make sure basic habitability standards are met. Talk to other tenants. Ask the landlords for referrals for some of their other tenants so you know who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a reputable landlord, you're not going to have habitability problems that are going to last on and on. But there's a lot of stories of people moving in and having no electric service, no heat. Maybe the landlord just bought the property and has no ability to do anything. So then the tenant is stuck. So it's complicated. Hopefully that's answered the question.
It
Gives you
is,
some
and that's where
guidelines.
my tenants are, they're actually fixing a lot of the repairs themselves.
And they can do that and
out of
withhold
their
the rent.
pocket, but
They should
some are out
notify
of
the
their
landlord and
hands.
withhold the rent for
But the
sure.
problem is they don't have a backup. Some have
Right.
criminal backgrounds.
Yes.
And therefore they end up falling into some of the landlords who will allow that.
Yes.
Their
Yes.
homes are habitable. It's a
True. With an individual with many barriers, they're likely going to have substandard housing. It's terribly unfortunate. During the time they're there, make sure they have a good payment history that can be proven. Try to get a good referral for the next place they go and try to let that place be just a stepping stone for a better house next time. Don't have them burn their bridges to the point where now another landlord can give them a bad reference, and don't get them into the UJS system with a landlord-tenant complaint. Because even if the landlord is operating a terrible property, it's still going to show up on UJS as an eviction. And the next landlord may not even call them back once they get the name. So they got to stay out of that cycle of the evictions if possible.
okay. And that's where I try, I don't want to step in and cause issues where there's no, because I don't want to cause somebody to be homeless.
Right.
So
Right.
a lot of times we have to step back and not fight it, I guess.
Yeah, you have to put up with some things, unfortunately, if there's no backup options.
I also have Jessica here. She's going to introduce herself, and she's got some information for you as well.
Hi, yes, specifically to that question, I'm Jessica Pulliam-Petrunak. I'm with Self-Determination Housing of Pennsylvania. The absence of a lease does not protect the landlord from any kind of fair housing laws. So definitely everything he said, yes, but also always involve like Fair Housing Law Center. We can get that information out if you don't have it. Legal aid, always get legal advice. Like I said, a lease is great, we encourage them, but it is not necessary to, there's still legalities that exist, laws exist regardless of a lease. So always seek out like legal help in those situations.
But the problem is they're scared to seek out legal help because if they get eviction, they're homeless.
Of course, and even with an eviction, they have to follow the proper process and procedure around that. So I understand that fear, I definitely understand it, but they will help to keep things legal on up and up. And then, if there's resources needed, they can help a little bit there too, but they need that help because they can get evicted regardless, and if they don't have that assistance, the process will just continue. So they might as well bring them in as soon as possible. I can't stress that enough, especially in cases where there might not be a lease to follow. A lease is great, it spells it out, but always get that like legal advice. And like I said, there's legal aid, of course, and then Fair Housing Law Center is huge.
Do you want to give them your contact information as well?
It's really long. So I'm here. I have cards if you want to catch me on break. But our agency works at a systems level with housing. So we do like free webinars on evictions, free webinars on like tenants' rights. So if you're not familiar with those, maybe check those out. But I have my cards. I'm sitting in the back, but I'll be up and about during the break. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any more questions about the housing or the agencies that are representing housing today? Okay, thank you guys for your attention. If you have any questions, we'll be here all day.